Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences.
Hello? Oh. Okay, no more say Natalie de Smith. Okay, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for 25 years, and I do serve the Haitian community. I would say probably 95% of my clients are Haitians. So I speak the language. I am there for them, and I do have a radio show where I talk about education to try to educate the Haitian community regarding different laws.
Hey, good afternoon to you, to everyone here. You guys looking so beautiful. Anyway, my name is Ronald Seren. I started being a soldier or a sailor. Then I become a lawyer. Then God called me into a minister. I'm a immigration lawyer for the past 27 years. And I'm an associate pastor at Beaka Baptist Church in Miami. The work is biased here. And also, I'm an advocate, a former president of Haitian Democratic Club of Broward County. I'm a passionate advocate for immigrant rights, and it is called upon time like this for us to stand up and take a seat next to those people and be the voice of the voiceless. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for venturing out in the rain. We know that you're committed to what's happening tonight. For you to get on I-95 or the turnpike in this type of weather. So we truly, truly appreciate you coming tonight. My name is Sandra Sheffer. I'm the daughter of immigrants, and I'm an immigrant myself. Sometimes I forget that because I've been here 50 years, right? But I'm still a child of immigrants. And I'm here more to speak about that and how it is that, because at one point in my life, I was also undocumented, right? Didn't know it. I was undocumented, found out when I was in high school, and then my parents hired an attorney, went through the whole process, and it still took 10 years after that for me to also become a citizen. So I understand the struggle of what's going on. But even though we thought we were in a bad administration during that time, there was still more compassion when it came to the immigrants in that moment. And that's going to be more my role in the conversation, is to talk about that experience as being an immigrant and the child of immigrants. I too am an immigration lawyer, but it's enough brains on the panel that I don't need to really speak in that capacity tonight unless I have to.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Christine and Naomi for putting such wonderful event together. I thank you guys for showing up. Like my colleague just said, like myself as well, I've been undocumented. When I came in this country, I was about 9 years old. So this story here is dear to my heart. In addition to that, I am the owner of American Mortgage. I have been doing mortgages and real estate for the past, I would like to say, over 25 years. I have done many loans for TPS holders. So this story is really dear to me because as we speak right now, I have clients that's been calling me, asking me what to do, what should they do. Some of them are lost and are worried, and I hope we can provide legal information and information about mortgage and real estate for them to potentially be in a better place.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ariel Sepulveda. I'm the organizing director with Florida Immigrant Coalition. At the Florida Immigrant Coalition, we work statewide on policy issues that are affecting our immigrant communities, and also connecting locally with our member organizations who are on the ground to let us know what we need to be concerned about in terms of what our immigrant communities are facing on the day-to-day. And so as from the start of this year, we've been working on a lot of distribution on Know Your Rights and connecting folks to legal resources. And we're very grateful to this opportunity to connect with you all on what we can do to kind of strengthen our community protections. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we've got questions coming in already. I just want to address one question of how long this is going to be. We're probably going to take about an hour to go through our next steps and chime in on all the professionals, healthcare professionals, organizations, and attorneys, and everyone that's going to chime in. So that'll take about an hour, and then the question and answer portion. Now, to facilitate all of this, please submit your questions. Any question. I don't want you to think that your question, is not good enough or whatever. Just send it to us and we'll filter through and get that answered. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our first step. So after Sunday's gathering, we decided that our first step is to know your legal options. And I'm going to pass this to Flick first, or Ariel, because they offer free consultations. It is very important, number one, to get a consultation with an attorney.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I want to re-emphasize this point that you just made of how important it is to really sit down with an attorney who can go through your case individually, because every case is different. So we do offer legal consultations every Wednesday that are hybrid, so you can go in person or virtually, which we know is really useful right now for folks to be able to meet with legal counsel, go through their individual cases. And we know that a lot of things right now are being challenged in the courts. And so while that is also happening, we do want to be able to provide those services. And a lot of our member organizations are able to connect with folks on the ground for that as well.
Awesome.
How do you take advantage of the Wednesday consultation?
How do you take advantage of the Wednesday consultation?
Thank you so much. So you can go on our website, flick.org.events. It is listed there as a hybrid event, community protection. The important thing about that is not only can they go through your case, but we do want to make sure that folks are thinking ahead for their family and protecting the resources that they have and their valuable assets, and their naming of a preparedness plan for folks. So we are able to kind of go through folks of what they should be looking at in terms of preparing their families, their friends, in case that they are in a vulnerable state.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because those are all going to be included in our next steps. That's awesome. So once you've had your consultation, right, our next step is to make the investment and hire the attorney. And I'm going to actually pass this to the attorneys. Ronald Soren, I think I'm going to pass this to you first. This is an investment. Hire the attorney. Not just somebody that's doing this, I can do this online for you. No. Get a legal professional. So.
Well, thank you. In this very confusing, scary, fearful time, as busy as we are, our office is committed to give free legal consultation. We're still not charging people for immigration consultation. We figure out the least you can do for yourself is to try to understand where you stand. If anything, you may not be able to afford a lawyer, but know what is possible where you stand. Because most people in our community are here every day. Your team, I have a warrant for you because you've been committing malpractice forever. Because they rely on their friends, their relatives, their neighbor, the doctors, the mechanic, everyone else. And not only that, they also tend to lump everything together, like everybody's case. It was very nice to hear Ariel say every case is different. But if their friend, something happened to their friend, they expect the same thing to happen to them. Usually when they told me I came at the same time with this individual, he's already has his green card while I do not have one. And I remind him of somebody who came at the same time, is already deported. Do you want the same thing? Because it's about your individual case. What is there for you? What can be done for you? With that information, it's indeed a great investment. I know maybe people, the worst part of it, a lot of people cannot afford the services of a lawyer, especially when their work permit is terminated, when the employment sent them back home, when they have rent to pay, when they have children to feed. It's not an easy task. And many of us try to ameliorate the situation for them. But within private practice, we still have to have a retainer, a certain fee to keep the lights on, to keep the office open. But you have to have the legal representation, because minor thing, when you go to court, for instance, the government knows that they intend to dismiss your case. And most people, they just look confused. They don't know what is what. They don't know what to expect. But the practitioner, we know exactly where the government is going with that information. And somebody said last year, the same thing happened. My friend's case was dismissed, and it was a good thing. But now the government announced they want to dismiss your case. You in trouble. ICE
Say
is
that
probably
again, say
waiting
that
for
again.
you outside.
These are people.
So that's why you do not lump cases together. Last year, when the government announced that they were going to dismiss your case, it means that you're no longer in proceeding, you're no longer under deportation removal. That means you kind of coming free in the country without a burden facing deportation. Now, when the government said they intend or they want to dismiss your case, you are in deep trouble. They probably ICE is already waiting outside for you. They tell the judge they don't want to continue the proceeding, but they want to do what is called expedited removal. That means as soon as you come out, they say we have the right to remove you right here, right now. And those are the reasons people need to seek counsel, because you have to find a way to respond to this kind of challenges. Right now, almost every one of my clients asking for hearing online so they don't have to show up in court. And those are the kind of benefits you can get when you have a lawyer that can give you an indication where you stand. Most people, they go to court blind because they don't know what to expect, what's going to happen. When you have the legal counsel, there is an understanding what to expect going to happen. That's why the best investment you can make for yourself and your life, for your family, is to seek legal counsel, hopefully at a reduced price as possible.
Yes, yes.
So, step number 1, consultation. Step number 2, make the investment in an attorney. Okay? That's it. Those are the top priorities right now. All right? Because every case is different. So, step number 3, put a plan in place. And we are going to talk about that plan. We are talking about identifying a United States citizen that you trust. And we talked about this earlier too. It's not just one person. Identify a few people that are citizens that you trust. Okay? We're talking about giving them power of attorney, custody or guardianship, and making sure that all of that paperwork, everything is accessible to them. So first, I'm going to pass off the mic to Natalie Demesman to talk about power of attorney, okay? And then for temporary custody or guardianship, who would like to take that one on? Or you could do both. You could do both. Okay, perfect.
All right, everyone. How many of you know what a power of attorney is?
Explain.
Okay, beautiful.
Right.
Yes, I'm about to explain what it is. It is a document. It's a legal document that has to be prepared a certain way for it to be valid. That's the first thing I'm going to say, because a lot of times people go online, they try to create those documents, and then if they don't create them properly, it's as if it did nothing because they cannot be used. Okay, so it is a legal document where principal gives an agent powers to act on behalf of the principal. So this power of attorney is a very powerful person. The reason for it is because that person can act as if it's you. Now, it depends on what kind of powers you give to that agent, okay? You can give different ones, okay? There is a limited power of attorney where you only give certain powers. For example, if you want somebody that you trust to take care of your children, okay? An American citizen, like she said, because we want somebody that you know is gonna be here. Okay, that's not going to be facing any, like I said right now, because things are changing all the time, any immigration issues, okay? So now let's say you have minors. You can have a power of attorney of somebody that you trust to actually make decisions for the minor, for school, health, and different things like that, okay? So we're talking just in case you get deported. So these are documents you're preparing just in case, okay? So now you can also have a power of attorney. Let's say you have a business where you give your agent is your business partner or somebody else that knows your business. Guys, don't go give a power of attorney to just anyone. It has to be somebody with knowledge, somebody that you trust, okay? To be able to take care of your business if and when you get deported. Also, you can do a power of attorney for somebody to handle your financial affairs. Those people has to be very trustworthy because those people can actually go in the bank, take money out, write checks, contract for you, and different things like that. Or you can give a general power of attorney where you give one person the ability to do all that for you, okay? The reason why it's very important to have one of those is that if you get detained for some reason, you go to church and then they detain you, they bring you to the detention center. Now your child is at school and you don't have access to anything. So basically that power of attorney will become a lifeline for you to continue those affairs while you're being detained or while you're deported, okay? There's a lot of people here too that have houses that are TPS holders that are facing deportation. You can give a power of attorney to someone to sell the house, rent the house on your behalf, okay? So that person will have the authority to do all that for you. A lot of times people say, but for how long is that power of attorney? It depends on you. You can give a power of attorney for 1 year, you can give it for a lifetime until you die. When you die, it does end, okay? So because remember that agent is you. So if you die, obviously the power of attorney ends also. But why is it very important for our community right now with what it's facing? Like I said, is because it's a lifeline. It's you have somebody to take care of things for you if you get detained and deported. It's very important document.
Thank you. Thank you. So power of attorney, yes. Now, I want to just do a follow-up question, and I'm going to actually pass the mic to you, G.
Creole. They're asking for Creole. They're asking for them to speak in Creole.
Oh, parlez en créole.
Nathalie, c'est pas by sans créole, répétez s'il vous plaît.
Yeah, tout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You speak Creole? Girl, I'm with you, girl.
Well,
You know what?
We'll translate, but they need a. But
Okay.
give it to her in Creole. Yeah, go ahead.
She can do it. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Do it too.
Okay, perfect. So do I get to this next question or do the whole thing in Creole first?
By Nathalie.
Okay, Natalie, perfect. I'm following your lead.
Ok, pas de problème, qu'a fait les créole, tout monsieur c'est dame. Ok, qui ça power of attorney à you? Pas moi qui ça qui j'ai pour me traiter power of attorney à créole, non, parce que dernière fois me t'a dit, on n'y a pas de connaître qui ça lié. Power of attorney c'est un mandat. Ok. Power of attorney c'est un document que lié, qui légal, que ou même comme principal ou ba un agent, ok, et pouvoir pour que il agit pour vous, que c'est vous qui êtes là. Ce qui veut dire que tout ça que l'agent a fait, c'est que c'est vous-même qui t'a fait. Alors, son document qui est très important, c'est au monde que nous fait confiance seulement pour nous faire le document ça. Et puis, power of attorney, il y a différentes qualités de power of attorney. Il y a un qui est limité, que on va seulement pouvoir pour un bagage. Par exemple, sur le Timoun, on peut avoir power of attorney, pour que Timoun et pour que moun nan fait décision pour Timoun nan, pour la chercher l'école, pour faire décision pour mettre un docteur, tout bagage ça yo. Qu'on y a là on l'autre par exemple tout si on a business ici ou un business partner ou bien un monde pour faire confiance ou capable on power of attorney pour que il ka gérer business pour si que yo prend ou yo met yo déporté ou on l'autre bagage que ou ka fait power of attorney tout ou pas un monde pour faire confiance droit pour que l'aller dans banque pour retirer compte pour ou pas les droits pour faire contrat pour par exemple il ka aller pour avocat pour signer un contrat avec avocat pour payer avocat parce que ou pas les droits ça yo pour nous demander combien de temps pour que nous ka et faire power of attorney nous ka gagner pour 1 an nous ka gagner pour la vie nous ka décider OK m'a pas power of attorney ça on temps pour 3 ans pour régler bagaille pour moi OK. Ça qui est très important tout pour que moi parler, nous avons pas retenu qui dit que il commencer si que yo prend moi yo déporter moi. Ce qui veut dire que on ka gain pas retenu chita, mais il faut commencer là que il vraiment commencer c'est là que ou quitter pays. Ce qui veut dire que ou bien si on met dans detention center. C'est un document qui est vraiment important parce que il ba vous une chance pour régler les affaires ou là que yo déporter.
Ron.
You're talking about the attorney. The consultation.
Ok. Comme moi t'ai dit tout à l'heure, gagner un avocat, son bagage qui est très important pour un monde, surtout dans le pays, ça à côté à tout bagage qui a rapport avec la loi, avec droit. So, dans ce sens, ça, l'homme monde pour un avocat ou investir dans tête dans famille ou dans futur et ou ba tête en sécurité. Ou pas comprendre yon moun qui pa et gen doit pas de possibilité mais yon moun qui pa vle payer un avocat pour la protéger droit pour le travail ou perdre droit ça ou ka comprendre qui valait l'argent perdu l'on pas ka travail là. Ça veut dire faut qu'à mettre tête en place pour qu'on ait son investissement lié et c'est un investissement dans le futur. Ça va veut dire n'importe qualité l'argent demandé ou pas gagner pour joindre lui. Ça va veut dire que n'importe prix pour n'importe bagaille pour capable essayer regarder comment on peut améliorer dépenses. Mais yon bagaille ou pas jamais faire et gon bagaille un client te dit me bien content m'a dit ça en créole. Gon le bon client après l'argent dépensé le pas arriver aucun côté. Il dit mettre là ça me réalise au connaît que les sauces poisson coûte plus cher que poisson. Ça veut dire que gagner là l'on essayer faire économie ou pas appeler dépenses.
C'est flip.org/events. So, m'a dit en anglais parce que m'a appelé pour nous comprendre. So, FLIC.org, G ton pour garde, OK, /events. So, EVENTS. Okay, that's the right. Okay, she got it. All right, so non seulement pour faire bagaille pour ouais qui sont fait pour avocat, mais faire un plan pour famille. Parce que les bagailles arrivent, c'est pas le ça pour chercher qui est-ce qu'a fait, qui sont besoin pour vous. C'est autant des avocats là qui dit nous qui gens pour nous faire préparation. Nous connaissons ces gens qui peut bailler mandat pour l'autre nous fait bagaille pour eux, mais au cas fait pour commencer si vous venez déporter. Ou pas obligé de faire en général, OK? And that's it for now. Carry on.
Thank you, Rep. Joseph.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we back on? Perfect. Okay. Next up, we were talking about putting a plan in place, right? Nous t'as parlé à, mettre un plan. Okay, no, plus, right? En plus. Listen, you guys can correct me. I'm all for it. Okay, so right now we're gonna talk about what do you do with your house? We have a lot of TPS holders that have a mortgage. So we want to talk about those different options, okay?
Thank you again, Christine. So as I've mentioned before,
We can have this too, though. We can do both, right?
Yeah, of course,
One
of course,
English,
Mike.
one Creole.
English first, okay.
Let's do both, English and then Creole.
No problem. As I mentioned before, I've done a lot of mortgages for TPS holders that were to purchase homes. It's really sad to see that my phone is ringing off the hook, where these people are calling me and asking me what to do. It's really, really sad. It's somewhat inhumane if you ask me, especially the situation in Haiti right now. So just because you're facing a deportation or if you've been deported, it doesn't mean that you've lost the right to your home ownership, right? So this is something that a lot of the folks that are in this situation need to understand. Do not panic, okay? You need to reach out to the professionals like us here, the attorneys, really seek advice because you may think, okay, I have to sell my house right now. You don't really have to sell your house right now. There are other options. There are other steps, right? As Attorney Demesman mentioned, you have the power of attorney that you can provide to a family member or trusted advisor, right? And you have to make sure that with that power of attorney, you specify what exactly you want to be done. If you want that person to sell the property or to rent the property. Speaking of renting, you can also rent that property. If you should be deported, you can potentially receive income to survive while you're in Haiti or wherever you're at. That's an option, right? However, that option is available only if you have sufficient funds after you've paid your mortgage, right? Including tax, insurance, and potentially mortgage insurance. So if you have some money left, that person can send you the money. Hopefully that person is someone you trust, and you can trust that person to do your affairs. The other thing that you can potentially do is, correct me if I'm wrong, Nathalie or Syrian, is, from my understanding, and revocable living trust, right, for undocumented individuals. I believe that's also an option. You guys can elaborate more on that.
Yeah.
So I think that's an option which could be good. And then you could also sell your home. Now, you can sell your home while you're here in the United States or while you're in Haiti or wherever your country is, right? But there's some complication with that. What I mean by that is there's tax complication. If you sell a property while you're outside of the United States, you become a foreign investor. And you have to speak to a CPA or tax professional to help you with that. In fact, even if you're here, you sell your property, depending on your status and depending on your situation, you could also be a foreign investor as well. I think I had the situation with Nali where she was in the closing, and that came up. Luckily, that person didn't have to pay more money, but that's something that you really, really have to be cautious of. Yeah. Okay, so moi fè un pile mortgage pour moun qui gen TPS et réellement son bagay qui fait mal parce que client relève tout le temps, il besoin connaître qui ça peut faire, il a paniqué, il perdu. Donc ou même qui dans situation ça, puis on paniquer. C'est chercher un monde pour aider. Nous avons plusieurs avocats là, bons avocats là, nous avons monde pour avoir information pour connaître ça pour faire. Une autre bagaille que maintenant avait été mentionné, c'est par attorney. Par attorney, vous capable d'avoir un monde qui vous fait confiance pour l'église à faire pour aider à faire caillou. Si c'est louer là, par attorney capable aider le monde louer là pour et sous louer ça, vous capable jouer un corps pour vivre à Haïti ou bien quand on était en quelque sorte l'autre pays. Mais pour jouer un corps ça pour vivre, pour aider à vivre, il faut capable payer mortgage là. Et après, il payer mortgage avec taxe, assurance ou bien mortgage assurance, reste comme critère qu'on a là, pour capable de joindre madame pour faire vivre en Haïti jusqu'à ce qu'on connaisse ça pour faire. L'autre bagage qu'on est capable de faire, il va écrire le vocable living trust, qui est médecin ou bien médecin avocat capable de parler plus sur ça, parce que moi, je ne vais pas faire ça, I'm not a lawyer. L'autre bagage qu'on va faire tout, c'est bon cas là, mais pas penser qu'il faut vendre là rapide. Faut pas besoin de vendre la même, chercher option avant de faire ça. Et sous vendre là tout, sous vendre là en dehors des United States, faut prudent parce que vous capable payer plus de taxes. You become a business of a foreign investor. Okay, foreign investor pay plus de taxes. Sous ici vous vendre là tout, dépend des statuts, il est possible que vous capable payer plus de taxes. Ça dépend des situations.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we are now going on to step number 4. Step number 4. Now, this is when it kicks into, let's say, in the event that you're detained. Okay? So, step number 4, bail fund. We talked about this on Sunday. Bail fund. Flick was saying that one thing that we need to all start considering is a mutual fund to help get our migrants that are detained, get them out on bail, right? So I'm going to actually pass the mic to Sandra.
All right, I wasn't gonna talk as a lawyer today, but I'm gonna go ahead and speak as a lawyer right now. All right, so bail fund. So bail is interesting. So it's one thing, money is one of the things you're gonna need. But the other thing you're gonna need with the bail is a person that's a lawful permanent resident or a citizen of the United States to actually post that bail for you. Because you can't post it yourself, and you can't have another one of your undocumented friends come and do it. You can't even have a TPS holder do it. So you're gonna need a lawful permanent resident or United States citizen to post that bail or that bond on your behalf. And this is what we want you to understand about bonds. Typically, a minimum bond is $1,500 in immigration court. So once they get you, it's rare that you're gonna get out of immigration detention for free. That's a very rare thing. Usually the way you get out without paying any money is if, for example, the attorney that you invested in is able to get the notice to appear that was filed against you terminated. So if they get that terminated, that means that they had no business picking you up in the first place, or they had no business putting you in removal proceedings. And so that's it, and you get to walk out the door. If you have to go into a bond hearing, minimum is going to be $1,500. The type of person that ends up paying a $1,500 bond is usually someone that they realize has some sort of relief. In a bond case, there are two things that a judge is looking for. They're looking to find out if the person's a danger to the community, meaning that if you go out there, you're going to go commit some sort of crime and put somebody else in harm's way. And then the other thing they're looking at is if the person's a flight risk, meaning if they let you out, it's going to be a catch me if you can type situation. And they're not interested in that. They're like, we got you already. Why are we going to let you go and then have to go find you again, right? So they're looking to see whether or not you're a flight risk and you're a danger to the community. So the person that may be able to get a bond that's only $1,500, the judge has determined that they're not a flight risk, they're not a danger to the community, but the most important thing is that they've determined that the person has what they call relief available to them. And relief in immigration world means that you have a way to have some sort of lawful status in the United States. That's what relief is. Sometimes people have various paths to relief. They have 3, 4, 5 different ways. They got a wife, they got a mama, they got a sister, they got a brother, they got a law, something that helps them, that allows them to have a path to a green card and then a path to citizenship. So if you have a relief available to you, you have no crimes, you're not a flight risk, you can get a $1,500 bond. Other than that, the numbers go up from there. You know, you go in there with a DUI, you are bondable, but it depends on the facts of that DUI. If there was 7 empty bottles of Heineken's in the back seat, they may not let you out because they're like, how you had 7 empty bottles of Heineken in the back seat, right? Or maybe you were drinking, but you were like, I can't drive. And you decided to go sit on the passenger side. Never sit on the driver's side if you pull over because you were too drunk to drive home. I'm just telling you, go in the driver's side. That's my criminal defense mind coming in right there, right? So go on the passenger side, go to sleep, but you cannot have 7 open bottles of Heineken in the back because the court is going to be like, that was irresponsible. You're a danger to the community. You were drinking and driving before you decided to pull over, so you probably won't get a bond at all. But if there were no empty bottles in the car and you were sitting on the passenger side, maybe just sleeping, or maybe there's 1 bottle, they may give you a bond. It won't be $1,500. It'll be a little bit more, but it's possible, right? So interestingly enough, you can still get out on a bond on the DUI. what most folks end up coming to immigration court, into detention for, that I've been seeing lately, right, is, South Florida, the state itself is not really good when it comes to transportation, right? Like the buses are terrible, you can barely get anywhere. So people are forced to drive. If you want to have a job, if you want to go pick up your kids, you need to drive. So you have a lot of folks that are driving without a valid license, right? And then you add to the fact that our governor decided that they don't want people to have out-of-state driver's license in Florida. And they're like, well, how am I going to get around? Like, I need something, right? So you have a lot of folks who end up getting stopped on a traffic stop that finds themselves detained. Typically, you can be bondable in that sense. Sometimes you may have a person that has no valid driver's license, or maybe two, you can get bondable. Now, if you got stopped driving without a license about 20 times, you're most likely not going to get a bond, because it's very difficult to convince a judge that if they let you out today, you're not going to do it again if you've done it 20 times before, right? So it's one of those things that it really is a case-by-case basis. So the traffic. The other thing, right? The other thing is people can't seem to get along. They start arguing. Sometimes they're drinking cervezas over the weekend, and then they get into a dispute with their partner, and either the partner calls the police, or the neighbor calls the police, or the kid calls the police, or somebody calls the police. And so they're in detention on a domestic. And of course, the victim or the alleged victim is going to say, I don't want to prosecute. That might just be a little bit too late, right? And I'm not telling victims to not call the police if you find yourself in danger, right? What I am saying is don't play them games, because you want to look at the cell phone and he won't show it to you, so you're going to get mad and then call the police. Don't do that, okay? Because when he gets detained, you're going to be calling us crying, and because we're not as sad as you are, doesn't mean that we're not sympathetic. It's just like, what you want us to do? You're the ones that were playing games with the police. Don't do that, not in this climate, right? Because that person's going to get detained, and then they may be back in whatever country y'all are from, okay? So don't play those games. If you're a true victim, something's going on, I'm not standing here telling you not to call the police. But what I am telling you is don't play them games and call the police if nothing actually happened, because you're going to have a whole heap of problems in front of you. So bonds can be anything, like I said, from $1,500. I've seen $20,000 bonds before. I've seen $40,000. I've seen $50,000. But sometimes some people like, just give me the $50,000 bond, but give me a number so I can get out, right? So, I mean, there are people who can pay it. Not everybody, so a bond can be anything. But one last point I want to make about bonds is, like, the people that get arrested on the driver license suspended or the domestic, for some reason, they bond themselves out of criminal court and then go into ICE custody. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Sit in the county jail, handle your case, and then go to ICE. Because if you bond out and you go to ICE, sometimes you can't go back and resolve your case, because they have absolutely no obligation to send you back in front of that judge. Now you have to get an attorney to fight to get you back in front of that judge. So what I'm saying is, like, if you've gotten arrested for whatever it is, resolve your case in criminal court first before you go into ICE custody, because you complicated your life by doing that. I saw something that in one state, they were actually upset that ICE was putting holds and picking people up, because they're like, well, now we can't even prosecute the cases anymore because we don't have jurisdiction over the person. So again, maybe if you did something bad enough and you think they might drop your case and you go into ICE custody, you may want to do that as a strategy, right? I don't know. But typically, stay in custody, resolve your case, particularly if you think I ain't do it for real, it's going to get dropped, or stay there, let it get dropped, and then go into ICE custody, and you're in a better position. You want me to say anything else about Bono? I'm good.
You may have to say it in Creole, but just like
tout ça. Okay. Okay, I'm going to say it very briefly. So, lò ale nan immigration, dene fwa moun yo kwe, même si yo pat fwa rien, yo vle juge la just lage yo konsa, so yo pa paye l'ajan. Nan kont immigration minimum, wap paye $1,500 pou soti. But ça, c'est pour moun, juge la déterminer, yo pa en danger dans la communauté, yo gen droit pour yo rete comme si yo gon jan pour yo jen ab statut légal et puis si juge la lave moun nan y a retourné dans court so si juge la quoi ça yo ka bon $1,500 but bon yo ka kempon comme yo ka 2,000 yo ka 4,000 5,000 yo ka juste dans $20,000 OK so c'est ça que je voulais expliquer but ou bien pour éligible so sous ton monde qui sorti dans prison l'arrive dans immigration ou pas ka joindre bonne parce que gon bagay ki les mandatory detention so yo pas ou pas éligible pour bonne but sous éligible juge la bon but minimum $1,500 va payer but c'est un monde qui réside ou citoyen qui a payé bonne ça pour vous et puis des fois l'on attend de bail bon criminel yo comme si yo paye 10% dans cob la pour yo laguer bonne immigration pas servi comme ça c'est l'argent ou payer net ou sou pas ka payer l'argent pour joindre une compagnie qui aide yo gen pour gon bagay qui valait tout l'argent bon nan pour sortir dans immigration immigration pas dans bagay 10% 10% comme ça yo pas fait ça pour l'autre bagay m'te expliqué c'est si ou moun vini presque moun yo qui vini dans immigration c'est parce que yo été arrêté et des fois yo arrêté parce qu'il y a conduit machine sans licence yo fait accident ou yo été sous bataille avec ou moun so yo vini dans immigration même si juge criminel la bon ou bonne pas payer bon non pour entrer dans immigration parce que ou ka mettre tête dans une situation qui plus difficile et pour pas régler dossier immigration là so fin deal avec case là devant juge criminel là l'on fini c'est dans moment ça pour transférer à une immigration et puis pour investir dans avocat pour yo ka aider pour yo ka bon avis sur qui gens pour faire tout case là.
All right. We have been, we're asked to just take a few questions. We have 4 more steps left. So we're going to actually just break it up and just take a few questions while we've got the momentum going. Vanessa, my lovely assistant.
All right, everyone. So we have about 18 open questions. We're going to get to all of them. So if you have questions, ou gen papier sa sous tabou, tout le monde ou gen papier sa sous tabou, s'il vous plaît, ouvrez caméra qui dans téléphone nous. Et puis, ou écrit question en dedans petit boîte là où est. Et puis, c'est comme ça, n'a pas question. Nous pas pour un monde qui lève main. S'il vous plaît, tout le monde gagne papier ça. Ou écrit question. Et puis, question a venir là, sous ordinateur ou computer. Et puis, c'est là ça, n'a pas toute question. So, j'aime te dire, nous avons presque 20 questions. N'a li question. Et puis, tout le monde qui là, n'a répondre. And then we're going to go et puis avancer avec l'autre question là. All right? So, première question, hein, ma point c'est are TPS holders at risk of being detained by ICE, and if so, would it be sent to Alligator Alley? Okay. So, en anglais, il dit, are TPS holders at risk of being detained by ICE, and if so, will they be sent to Alligator Alcatraz? So, ma tradi ça, so moun ki gen TPS, qui ka ICE qui ka point yo moun qui gen TPS et puis ICE ka point yo est-ce que y a voye yo dans nouveau prison yo fait bâti qui relè Alligator Alcatraz? Who would like to answer that?
Or can someone from the audience answer that?
I guess dernière fois m'te dit nous gen 3 catégories moun qui dans TPS. So ça peut dépendre de qui est dans la catégorie ça. Mais ça moun pas comprendre TPS pas qu'à faire yo pas arrêter. TPS pas qu'à faire ICE pas kembe. TPS ça son protection pour yo pas déporter. Sous gen TPS, gouvernement pas qu'à exécuter un ordre de déportation en tout temps ou en bas TPS là. Ça veut dire que si l'immigration t'a kembe ou kounya là ou gen TPS, yo ka décider pour yo kembe ou dans détention jusqu'à ce que TPS a fini, ou bien yo ka décider pour yo laguer ou bien yo ka faire un programme pour yo mettre dans inspection, yo bon rendez-vous pour aller dans ICE et surtout yo gen bon rendez-vous le TPS a fini pour yo est-ce que ou gen le statut ou non. Si pas gon le statut qu'on a yo ka tout prêter ou pas ouais dehors encore. So it's very important that when you know what category of TPS you're in, whether you already have a final order or you are in proceeding. So anyone who's not legal resident or citizen who doesn't have a permanent status can be arrested by ICE, but the TPS would not prevent ICE from arresting you, but it would prevent ICE from executing the order of deportation. So if you have TPS, be careful, behave yourself, because ou pa ka ale à l'école et tout a fait connect dans la rue là, mais cependant, mais si vous avez TPS là, ou ka fait ICE connaît, mais so gain, ou est s'il te ka la go jusqu'à ce que TPS a fini.
Yes. Okay. So avant, Ms. Joseph, you say that. So, and a follow up to that, there was like a 2-part. So about the TPS, and can you give any updates about any deadlines or renewals? So, est-ce que vous pouvez parler de moun qui veut renouveler TPS yo or deadline pour TPS?
I'll take that quickly. It ain't too much of that's going to happen. Like, you really could still apply technically for it, but it's going to expire February 3rd, 2026. Originally, we started all of this because they were trying to shorten that date. So it's going to expire on February 3rd, 2026. I mean, Congress may be able to do something, but they're going, the lawyers going to have to touch their hearts to get them to the place where they're going to do something like that. So people really should, and God can do all things, okay? I believe, okay? I believe. So really, people need to find other ways for them to get lawful status in the United States. That should be the goal.
All right. So some legislative updates on that front. Let me touch on the TPS and then I'll come back to the alligator Alcatraz. So for TPS, just this week, you heard that, well, not even this week, it was Friday.
Friday they
shortened it, right? Last week they shortened it. This week in litigation, it was reinstated. It was reinstated in the court in New York. Prior to that, we had this other litigation where they said that you can't issue a nationwide injunction. It only applies in your jurisdiction. So you have this conflict happening. So technically, TPS nan toujours là, yo réinstaté pour jusqu'à février, right? So 3 février nan année sa k'ap vini. So c'est pas un pile temps, right? But pour le moment, il a. We can anticipate that the administration will be appealing it. In fact, today, I believe they issued a statement about what they were intending to do. So nous connaissons que yo pral goumen toujours, mais pour le moment, techniquement, ça yo te essayer faire pipiti, konya even pil don encore, even retourner dans janté avant, okay? So TPS nan là, mais nous connaissons il pas là pour longtemps. Pour le moment, la place jusqu'au février. 3 février na année sa k'ap vini, right? So it's going to be there through February 3rd of this year coming. That's just with the TPS, but it's still in litigation. So today is February 3rd. Next week it might be something else. So you just stay tuned. So that's on that front. As far as alligator Alcatraz is going on, for those who don't know and you haven't been paying attention to the news, or you've been under a rock. I know people in here have been paying attention, but everybody else may not have been. So pour moun ki pa konnen sa k'ap pase, gouverneur de État sa décidé que il besoin faire albat colis, dit la fait un alligator Alcatraz pour basically terrorize people. Et besoin nous connaît que monsieur sa qui là comme gouverneur, il était là, he was a JAG lawyer who was there in what do you call that place off of Cuba? Guantanamo Bay, right? Ça fait l'autre bon. So he's been paying attention to all this stuff. So tout ça qui pas bon, c'est ça le besoin de faire dans le pays ici, commencer par nous-mêmes ici dans Floride. En tout cas, alligator Alcatraz, they fast forwarded and did some things they weren't supposed to. The county, Miami-Dade County, started asking questions, and several legislators, including myself, started asking questions. And instead of responding to those questions, which he should be doing, led by his attorney general, who is in all kinds of other trouble for not paying attention to court orders as it relates to immigration, decided that they wanted to fast track this whole situation. So they launched it. Connaît notre monsieur qui descend, il fait gros conférence de presse, al bat koyo, pour yo montrer qu'il a fait bagay sa yo. Et pour yo même, I need you to understand tactically what this is for them. This has nothing to do with immigration enforcement and everything to do with terrorizing, psychological terror, and they're fundraising off of this. The amount of fundraising they've been able to do on this alligator Alcatraz is crazy. T-shirt, yeah. I mean, but the point is, for them, this is political theater. They're not paying attention on the actual impact of people. If you go to, for example, my Instagram, we show little videos of things of what you see in alligator Alcatraz. En tout cas, it's under litigation. There are lots of groups that are attacking it. The main litigation right now that probably has the largest strength is the one by the Everglades Foundation, with a couple of other organizations that have teamed up, because before they can do that in a place like the Everglades, there are certain environmental requirements that should have been met, which were absolutely not met, which is the same issue that happened with TPS. There were a lot of things they could have shortened TPS, but they didn't take the necessary steps to do so. It's within their power to do so, but they didn't do it. So same thing here. It may be slowing down the inevitable. We don't know. But once we have the environmental impact, what we're seeing both at the federal level and at the state level is these guys will go ahead and do things that they know are illegal, right? And they lose in court, but they have the attention and they win in other areas. And then there's a difference between de jure and de facto. De jure is what the law actually is, and de facto is how people act like the law is, right? So he's convincing people that it's a particular way and that he can do certain things, but this is the time that we have to resist. And all of the things that we're doing now are helping us do that. So that's the little update for alligator Alcatraz. Yes. That'd be a good question for them. Okay, yeah, that's a good question for them. Pas besoin pour bagay sa yo. Ma kite ti moun sa yo ki la comme expert. Okay, so we're gonna go back into our steps. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, step number 5 is prepare your case. All right. So we talked about everything from before you get detained. Now we're in the steps of getting detained, the bail, all this stuff. Now we need to prepare the case, and part of that is mental. Okay, a huge part of that is mental. And so I'm going to pass the mic so you can tell us about your experience and your history and what you recommend as far as seeking mental health experts when it comes to preparing your case.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm almost 40, so I'm going to do English Creole. I can't remember that far back. Plus, you're not back at the
Okay.
So, okay. So first things first. The main things you can control are your emotional responses. Pele bagay. Sa pou ka jire que plus contrôle sous ces gens ou ajout sentimental, right? So the first thing I want to do is a breathing exercise because I'm sure everyone in here is a little nervous. Stuff is through the roof. Pele bagay na fè, so on by exercise with breathing. Okay, so everyone's had a milkshake before or a smoothie?
Yes.
So you know when it gets really good at the bottom, there's like an Oreo or a strawberry stuck? We're gonna learn a milkshake bread. Si o jambon on by guy qui gagne on by guy qui on t-shirt thick na how do you say straw? Chalumeau. Qui on jambon à respirer pour prendre by guy là. So ça peut aller. Right. So not prendre respirer comme ça. So what it looks like is literally, so you're gonna put your feet down, you're gonna rest your bottom into your chair, make it pied à terre, chita son chaise up, si on a chaise, si on a cabane, chita à droite, make your jaw sous chaise, non sous chaise, dans ta kembel. So if you're sitting in a chair, put your feet down on the floor, sit down, bottom in, put your back on the back of the chair so your chair is holding on to you. If you're in a bed and you're online, please sit up. I'm gonna show you what it should look like. Ma bien still just have disposé garder, right? So I'm gonna breathe in, and as I breathe in, you should see my shoulders and my lungs expanding. So it's going to be a very big.
Right. And so then we're going to breathe out. It's not going to be an exaggerated breath out. It's going to look like you're breathing a feather across a room. So you're going to breathe in deep. Your lungs are going to fill. You're going to hold it for as long as physically comfortable. And then you're going to slowly, like a feather across the room, breathe out. So let's go one breath in together. Kimber. And then slowly exhale your feather across the room. You can do that anywhere. Wherever you are, you can teach your children. Toddlers can do it. The elderly can do it. Those with dementia.
Wow.
If you're alive, you have your breath with you always. You can control your physiology. You can control a lot of outcomes.
Amen.
Okay. Si ou vivant ou bien force là-dedans, right? So ou ka respirer. So ou pa gen an kote kwa ale, ou pa gen option pour respirer. So ça ton bagay ou ka pran n'importe qui kote ou ale. Gratis. No charge. Okay. So there are several organizations, and I'm going to do this in English and in Creole. A lot of these founders are my friends and local. State of Florida Ride. They right now have a program through the Jewish Community Services that they will pay a therapist a large fee, and you pay $25 to come to therapy virtually.
Wow.
So, your organisation de partie sentimentale. Yo gen un programme qu'on y a si ou vivre dans Floride ou ka vivre en thérapie pour $25. Hold on. I was texting to make sure I have all of the accurate information so I can give that, because part of planning is knowing where to go. So I can tell you how to do all of the things, but if you don't know who to call when it hits the fan, when your emotions are going through, if your children are taken from you, or either way, how to handle that, it's of no effect. So I'm going to find mais si pas moyen pour aider ko, du pas faire rien. So, le parti sentimental, 954-247-4049. My number's in Creole or Trash, so we'll just do it again, 954-247-4049.
954 247 Thank you. 4049.
Okay. Thank you guys. Another organization, CEAT, the Center for Equitable Access to Trauma Treatment, also provides free services. And that is going to be statewide and virtual. So is CEAT, CEATT.org, and they are free. There's also a directory, Haitian, CEATT.org. There's also a very new global TT.org. There is also a global directory that launched May 18th of this year called HaitianTherapist.com. So if you're looking for a therapist, or you are a therapist and want to be listed, the directory came out May 18th of this year. They're still currently accessing providers. So if you have insurance, need insurance, you can go through and find a provider. HaitianTherapist.com, .com, HaitianTherapist.com. So that's CEAT.org, LeBatisSentimental.org, HaitianTherapist.com. If you are in Broward County, my organization, SW Social Support, has a free program. So if you're uninsured or underinsured and can provide my administrator with a Florida ID that has a Broward County address on it or mail, you can start that process. So I think the most important thing is, one, you're able to physiologically regulate yourself, because a confused mind cannot decide.
Come on. You gotta get it.
So the most important thing you can do, pull up, is to really regulate yourself, because a confused mind cannot decide. They're like, c'est contrôler qui j'en senti. Parce que le pas penser droit, ou pas faire rien pour pouvoir. Like, you can't choose well. And so if you get to court ever and you don't have an attorney, which is wild and crazy, don't do it. They're going to try and confuse you with questions. And if you become erratic, emotional, you're going to probably lose. So get moyen si vous pas joindre moun là, si là pour contre le tribunal, y a essayer faire mauvais pour son moun qui pas supposé sur la rue. So find a therapist. And then part of those plans look like almost like a domestic violence safety plan. And so that's going to be the easiest thing to relate it to. Puis bien moyen pour planifier si on connaît ou pas un statut supérieur la prévoqué 3 février 2026. fè un plan so si ou konen si ou fò kite, si ou bezon bagay pou di tou, met bagay yo nan od. So konen se fèt dan aksimen, men kate siyans li, men ki alijri genyen. Tout bagay si ou tap kite avon lon moun se sa pou genyen, mette bagay nan un kote. Mette gad, kulot, sa ou bezon pou piti tout. Si ou bagay pase ou ka di, moun ki gen pou vwa avocat, ok, men kote nan kay moun ka jwen bagay kon sa. Se bagay kon sa ma piti men pa manje, se bagay kon sa se kon sa men dormi. So bagay la poske ou pa la pou fè bagay, la di on ele mamam, ok, men si le koke sa la fè, sa ka fè nan plas. Ou pa gen ou bagay, un bon bagay ka fè, men si ou gen un plan, on bon kite, ou ka di, T Shelly, you know, this is what's going on, whatever. So in English, so when we're realizing now that the government is doing whatever they're going to do. So we have to put in place a plan as though we are running from an abuser, right? So let's look at the American government for all purposes as our abuser.
Wow.
They are hunting us down. They are coming to get us. If you were in a domestic violence relationship with somebody, which the people who have TPS essentially are with the United States, right? You know, February 3rd, 2026 time is coming up. This thing is going to be inevitable unless something changes. So for today, where we sit, July 3rd, 2025, we have today's July 3rd. Yeah, today's July 3rd. So July 3rd, 2025, about 7 months to February 3rd, 2026. Begin having those conversations. Hey, sweetie, you were born in the US. Our privileges and our rights are different. Based on what's happening right now, things may look different for our family. So talk to whoever, Kuzan, whatever, this person, should something happen to mommy or daddy, this is what it's going to look like. Include your children in the conversation. They're not like subservient. They're little humans with brains who are going to also have the same physiological responses that you will have with a lot less control than you have. So we'll go through and we'll do a mock nighttime routine with Tati, whoever's power of attorney. So Tuesday night, come over to the house. This is how she likes her hair washed. This is the toothpaste she likes. This is the underwear this is her teddy bear. So you're preparing not just from the fiduciary standpoint and stewardship standpoint, from the standpoint of children are lent of the Lord, right? So we have to take good care and steward what God has given us. And so while they're small, this is the reality of the world that they are growing up in. So if something happens to mommy, mommy can get you from school, they tell you mommy's not coming home, daddy's not coming home. Here's where your safe bag is. These are the things that you enjoy, your crayons, your markers, whatever. So they're not starting from scratch having to explain to someone else what they enjoy doing. And so you begin to plan as though you are running for your life. And that's the most sincere explanation I can give, because what happens is your livelihood is built here and you're torn from your family for things outside of your control. Someone else is going to be standing in the gap, standing in your stead to help them. Empower them with every tool possible to normalize the transition.
Wow. That wasn't even, thank you. Okay, so part of the preparing your case, so yes, preparing family mentally. We also want to talk about scrubbing social media and making sure that someone, you want to touch on it? I want to talk about scrubbing social media, and then you're going to hold on to the mic because the next question is going to be for you as well. Okay? All right.
Does I need to translate? Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think that we've been wanting to be very cognizant. One of the things that we are hearing, I'm sure you all are hearing, are the amount of fear that folks are feeling of just being in physical spaces, but also just being seen right now, which is largely on social media. Mm-hmm. So being very cognizant about the things that we spoke to, that you would tell a minor on the internet, of like, be careful of where you're posting, where you are, the details of you and your family, like the same similar guidance, and then also being very cognizant of your audience and who is viewing the same post that you are viewing. Yes. So maybe you would before have your page.
Okay. So si nous gérer réseaux sociaux nous, faut que nous fassions même je n'ai pas conseil pour tout le monde. Fais attention qui ça va poster, qui côté va poster, qui le va poster, qui est-ce qui suit ça va poster.
Yeah, so before where you might have your page public and be very freely posting where you are and who you're with, we want to be cognizant about how visible our pages are and who may be watching them, because we are in a different time right now where those things are being tracked for ill purposes.
So, nan tan normal, nou ta poste sans considération de tout bagay sa yo, et page nou te gen droit public. Konya, faut faire considération pour faire page nan privé, pour limiter qui est-ce qui gagne accès à l'information, parce que nous autant différents konya. Awesome. So let me add to that. So in addition to making sure your stuff is private, some of us, I'm an elected official, so I'm going to keep mine public because I'm sharing information and I want people to have access to that information. You also think about how you access stuff, right? Gen se bagay, m'ge dwa pa di la nan internet nan, pendant ap suiv, mais gen se bagay pou nou fè pou protéger tèt nou en termes de cybersecurity. There are things called VPNs. There are more secure communication methods. WhatsApp is not secure. Your regular cell phone is not secure. Si ou même c'est un monde qui peut-être gen raison pour pas gen un téléphone qui gen internet là-dedans, faut faire évaluation ça. Si peut-être ou c'est un monde qui besoin d'un ancien flip phone yo, faut faire évaluation ça. Si ou c'est un monde qui peut-être pas besoin de faire une connexion non nom ni adresse avec n'importe qui compagnie cellulaire, faut faire évaluation ça. Pour les gens qui besoin comprendre ça m'a dit.
I have another question for her. So our next step, step number 6 is know your rights. Start training your loved ones to know your rights and how to identify, okay, if somebody's being detained, what do I do? What rights do my parents have or my loved ones have? We want you to be trained on your rights. We want you to be trained on your rights too if you have TPS, but we're very cautious about inviting you to like a training or something like that. We want your loved ones to really get trained out of protection for you. So if you want to talk about the know your rights.
Sure, thank you. So we have been doing it in partnership with a few member organizations, a lot of know your rights trainings and trainings of trainers to be able to share that information, because what we do see also is that the more people that we have standing up and like placing these boundaries, the better it is for our communities to have allies also say, like, I am not going to speak to you without my lawyer present. I reserve the right to not be searched. Like, to have not only immigrants who may be vulnerable to deportation, but also citizens and residents to say this does place a strong boundary. And so we've been doing a few of those know your rights with our member organizations. One, to make sure that those things are spread. And we also have a hotline and a website called Raise. So if you go on your... Wait.
So, la travaille avec plusieurs partenaires qui travaillent pour protéger nous en termes de connaître droit. Nous tous connaissons droit nous et nous tous agir et essayer de protéger droit. Et plus facile pour tout le monde. So, comme ça, c'est pas seulement les gens qui ont des problèmes avec papier, c'est les gens qui sont citoyens, c'est les gens qui ont green card, tout le monde a boomé et comme ça, nous ajoutons un niveau de protection. Il t'a parlé nous d'un site web qui est what's the website?
So if you go on your phone, it's going to be Raise. It's RAISE.IS.
Ce site web là, c'est un bagage qui est Raise. C'est RAISE.is. OK? So, ça, c'est site web là, on peut checker le téléphone ou bien là, l'internet, on va suivre. Ensuite, nous avons parlé des partenaires avant. What's the phone number for Flick? Ça, c'est numéro 1 pour Flick. Ça, c'est groupe parlant. C'est 1-800-600-57-62. Ça, c'est hotline yo. M'a répéter encore. C'est 1-800-800-57-62. I'm going to say it in English. The hotline for Flick is 1-888-600-57-62. Ensuite, on l'autre groupe nous gagne là, c'est femmes. Yo kon ede moun yo fait partie de corrélation de flic là, OK? Mais nous connaissons femmes, yo là dans ti Haïti, numéro de téléphone pa yo et yo fait consultation tout, c'est 305 750 756 80 50. Encore c'est 305 756 80 50. Numéro de téléphone, the number for femme in English is 305-756-8050. They're another partner organization that fall within the aegis of FLIC, but just giving you some additional options in case you need it. Next question?
No,
If
we're
that's
good.
it.
Thank you. Okay, so this next step is step number 7, but that one's gonna bring us into a conversation. So I'm gonna actually skip 7, go to 8, and then we're gonna end with step number 7, okay? Step number 8 is share this with everyone you know. That is step number 8. We are going to be doing these town hall. We have 3 scheduled next week. People are calling us, and we will do them. I don't care what it is. I don't care what time it is. We will find people to come and talk. We are getting this information out as much as possible. Number 1, we are also partnering with FLIC to do a Know Your Rights training next Saturday. If you want to be trained next Saturday, we're doing it in North Miami. We'll give you the information later, okay? Next Saturday in North Miami. So that is step number 8. We have to share this. We have to get this information out, and every single detail has to be out there. We are working on a document that will have the links, and everything is just, we're making it. We're doing this as fast as we can, okay? But we will get that out. If you have not given us your email address, we have a sign up. We will send you a newsletter with all the information that we're talking about. That way you don't have to think about it, okay? I can't promise you I'll have that newsletter out by tomorrow, but I will get it out by Saturday. If you give me one day, I will have it done by Saturday, and everyone will get an email, okay? Will it be translated? That's another story. We're gonna do our best. We're doing our best. So step number 7. Step number 7 is mentally preparing yourself for all 3 options. Option number 1 is a pathway to citizenship. Option number 2 is you get to stay in the United States, okay? Your status unknown, but you get to stay. You get to remain here in the United States. And option number 3, you are deported. And so I know that is the elephant in the room. What happens if I'm detained and deported? What happens in Haiti? What if I decide to self-deport, maybe to Brazil or to Canada or somewhere else, right? And what is it going to take mentally for me to prepare myself for that? Because not everybody's going to be able to stay. And we have to be honest about that. Okay, so who would like to touch on that? Anyone want to touch on that? About preparing ourselves for those 3 steps. Either we are citizens, or you have a pathway to citizenship, or you get to stay here, but it may not end in citizenship, or you're deported to a completely other country, either self-deported or forced deportation. You wanna? All right, everybody's touching on. Go ahead.
Well, I'll let other people speak about the advocacy, the step to citizenship. We have a Congress that is really hostile to immigrants right now. It would be something very difficult to say here, but I think with determination, with victory and electoral process, for instance, the midterm, we can flip things around, and then that can give us a different outlight and outcome. But if you are to remain, we've been there before. Under George Bush, it was so tough that people were flying all over the place, going crazy, crossing the border to Canada, and another try to save themselves. You stay, you take some risk, whether you can survive that period of time or whether you are detained. First challenge for people is whether they still have a work permit. Because if you do not have a work permit, it's probably very difficult to continue to have an employment. And if you don't have a job, you cannot pay your bills, you cannot pay your rent. It's become a very hostile environment where it's very difficult for you to remain. Now, those are the times that you can rely on friends, family, and churches and any organization that can provide some support. In the past, they used to have a lot of sanctuary places, cities and states, and the government is cracking down and trying to dismantle every one of them right now. There are some pockets of resistance, but you have to understand where you are. For instance, if you're in the state of Florida, your risk is a lot higher to get arrested and deported than if you were to be, for instance, in California or New York or in Chicago or what have you. So you have to make that assessment where you're going to live and what kind of protection the state, the local official, and what structure the environment can provide for you to remain, although you can be without work, without a job, without a means to take care of your family. Those are the risks you take, and that's going to take a lot from you, a lot of mental exercise, whether you want to stay home, not venture on the street. And I know right now, even churches are being impacted because a lot of people, as much faith they may have, but they trying to use very much restraint to stay home and not to be on the street. You don't get on the street, and you definitely do not go hang out and then have a fight and play dominoes, and then we just having a bad time and then start drinking, and then you cause yourself more trouble. That's calling an immigration to come find you. So you cannot be too safe just not to be on the street when it's not necessary, not to drive when it's not necessary. And if you go to church, you go to work, you go home, and then you stay quiet, yes, the chance of survival may be higher. But knowing that by law you're required to provide your location at all time to immigration. Those are called for judgment, and a lawyer can never advise you not to provide your most recent address to the government. However, survival is a personal instinct, and then you have to decide on your own how you want to live your life if you were to remain here. Maybe somebody else would probably talk about
And they have
the
access to
advocacy.
post office details. They have access to your post office details.
Not only that, there's interconnection with the federal government. For instance, you could quietly have your tax return, but IRS would provide your information to immigration and USCIS or ICE, and they're making it very, very, very difficult for people to remain. In fact, the government best bet is for people to start deporting themselves. That save them money, that save them time, that save a lot of energy. But then you can decide how you're going to take proactive action. For instance, do not run to the border to go to Canada. There might be a safe way. For instance, those people who have immediate relatives and people, I'm not a lawyer in Canada, but there are ways you can channel your way to immigrate there without risking going there in the wrong way. Because if you go to the border without any sort of documentation, you risk being sent back, and you're going to be delivered directly in the end of ICE. Those very people you're trying to avoid, you're going to be right there on their laps. So it's not time to go crazy, as we've been advised here to be calm, but just the best thing I think she had said, if your mind is not stable, you cannot make rational decisions. So fear never cures any problem. So try to find best information and to act with knowledge so you know what best to protect yourself, your family, and your future. Are they causing? So, blanc yo fèm gaspiller en ban anglais là. Ça ne veut dire spécifiquement pour moun qui décide pour y arrêter. Parce que il y a moun qui survive en pile période dans pays ça, et sous bouche bagay était difficile en pile, prend moun à droite à gauche, il y a moun qui perd courir au Canada, et puis après ça, yo vinn ba ti pièce a courir tourner encore, yo tant pour chercher dans l'arrière parce que tête yo pas posée. Ou ka poser pour garder qui ça qui bon pour. Est-ce que vous voulez risquer rester ou bien on veut prendre action pour immigrer de façon légale et sûre et certaine dans l'autre pays. Par exemple, monde qui gen ti monde qui te fait Brésil, ti monde ça a toujours des citoyenneté brésilien, yo ka tourner dans pays a. Et pourquoi parents yo capable aller avec. Si il y a possibilité ça pour explorer pour connaître qui gens ou ka aller l'autre bon ça. Si ou même ou pour le Canada, il y a une façon légale ou capable aller, ou capable prendre contact avec avocat canadien, mais de façon de pour une famille Canada en tant que maman, papa, frère, soeur, ou capable de rentrer au Canada légalement sans pas besoin de paniquer. Mais sans pas faire ou pas courir à le faire tête chaud parce que tête chaud pas jamais résoudre aucun problème. Cherchez des bons gens information, cherchez comme ça pour faire. Mais si vous choisissez pour être, faites attention. Pas dans le brigandage, pas dans la bataille, pas dans hangout dans la rue. Et si tout n'est pas, monsieur, faire respect nous, pas lever mes souffles, pas dans la bataille à monde. En pile, chaque jour, dans la prison, pour être pas de fille. Et même si ça lui-même, il prend vraiment demander gens avocats te dit pour le faire la guerre. Mais quand il y a la bagarre à dépasser, il va pas la guerre parce que là, il y a Haïti, j'aime de besoin de ça. Quand il y a la, il pas là pour le payer caillou, il pas là pour les doigts de Timounio et ou même il va même venir tout pour connaître qui est noyé. So pas compliquer la vie nous, pas faire bagarre qui pas nécessaire, pas agir comme un fou. Un client qui dit qu'il connaît depuis nèg la pas problème, les police a vient aider. Police pas là pour l'aider, il là pour arrêter moun. So dès pour relé, il faut joindre moun pour l'arrêter. Décider est-ce que c'est ça bon pour comme avocat dit si vous en danger tout bon, pas ou supposé faire ça qui est nécessaire. Mais pas faire pour intéressant ou bien pour le faire monsieur ouais ou bien pour comprendre que police a venu parler avec vous parce que police n'est pas counsel et pas ça au fait. So faire attention, gérer tout, rester en paix la caillou, pas ouvrir porte pour moun nous pas connaît, pas parler à moun nous pas en affaire. Si tout nous même pas détail à moun nous pas connaît n'a parler toute vie nous, faire respect nous que métier information nous pour tête nous, on s'abonne avec nous la protéger.
So I wanted to go back to the planning piece. I think we touched a lot about how we handle our emotional regulation, right? So literally your brain does 3 things when you're scared: fight, flight, freeze. None of those help cognitive processing. They actually impede your ability to process and rationally decide. Oh! Gen trois bagaille bonne décision pendant paix. Gen trois bagaille c'est tout fait leur paix. Il camper, il fait bataille et puis il sous glace, il pas faire rien. Il voulait courir, excusez-moi. Right? Pendant vous voulez courir, pendant vous voulez bataille, pendant vous pas faire un pote, paralysé, ou pas même planifier choisir rien encore parce que girl dit from vivre. So we're not planning from a place of fear. There are 3 options presented before you of what you can do. Figure out which of the 3 make sense for you, for your household, for your community, and for your financial status. Il y a 3 choix bien devant. Chita, avec tête tout clair, après vous faites petit exercice, respirer, et puis dit, dans 3 bagages ça yo, ça m'a fait. Ça me gagne l'argent pour faire, ça me gagne moyen pour faire, ça me gagne monde qui peut aider me faire. So, si vous voulez quitter les États-Unis, mais vous n'avez pas gagné l'argent pour aller à l'aéroport, allez plan ça, faire un autre plan. Ça me fait. L'autre bagage qui a aidé, le bagage doit le besoin faire vite, c'est au moins safe. So something else that can really help you in the times where things aren't going well there. You have all 3 of your plans, you know what you can and you cannot do. Create a safe word. So you can call somebody and say, hey, pineapples, for example, and hang up. That person knows we're enacting a plan for safety. Whether your phone is being recorded, sit down with somebody face to face, turn your cellular device, pick up your phone, turn cellular connection off. So Siri's not tracking you, Instagram's not tracking you, WhatsApp's not tracking you. Pendant planifier, prends un moyen pour avec moun devant face à face, Prendre téléphone nous, retirer cellulaire sur lui sur monde pas attendre et puis parler. Si on bagage arrive même si ça n'a fait. Même mon n'a dit le bagage au drôle. So si on dit par exemple ananas. Ça va aller avec fouet parce que c'est plus facile. Ananas. Moi on dit ananas on connaît bagage rouler et ça pour faire. So même si on fait un seul coup de fil, tout le monde qui est dans la communauté connaît leur relais ananas, faut relais moun ça, faut relais moun ça, faut relais moun ça. Al prend petit moyen, al fait ça, maman la caille, maman papier, et ça pour faire avec. I'm not translating that in English. If you didn't get it, sorry for you. And so there are certain things that you want to make sure that you have planned out explicitly outside of going to therapy, getting those things in place, that they're written down somewhere. Your documents, just like if you're running for your life, like we made it like domestic violence, you have a hidden album in your phone. Whether you have a Samsung or you have an Apple phone, nobody's walking around with their passport on them through all of the documents. Take photos of those items and put them in your hidden folder. So when I have clients that are actually running for their lives, that are actually in domestic violence situations where they're not able to pick up all of the documents, they generally have their phone. We go to the bathroom with our phones. So, one photo tu papier ou besoin mettre un album dans téléphone qui caché. Même si pas un Apple ou un Android, il y a un moyen pour chita sur une photo, mettre doit tout sur lui puis la demander est-ce que vous voulez cacher. Vous mettez caché, ou qu'à cacher pour album seulement ouvert avec photo ou qu'à mettre un numéro un mot qu'à quitter album ça ouvert. So même si vous pas mettre dans le premier album là ou qu'à faire deuxième troisième album qui dit ananas. So on connaît le bagage d'ol ananas ou qui un passeport ou qu'à aider dans moyen ça.
Awesome. One more person and then I'll take it.
Real quick, what I wanted to say is that if you do take the route where you create power of attorneys, it's very important, guys, because a lot of times Haitians, they have, a whole lot of family living there, the kids are living there and everything. They're like, oh, if I get taken, my mom will take care of the kid. Your mom will not be able to go do things for your child because your mom does not have the authority. So it's very important that you guys understand that, okay? Yes, your mom can feed your child, but what about school? What about health? They're gonna ask, where is the guardian? Where is the parent? Your mom or dad, they're in the house. They're not gonna be able to do any of that for you without a legal document allowing them to do so. So it's very, very important that you guys do that. The other thing too that I felt to say before.
We'll say that in Creole first and then go.
OK. Ça qui est très important, c'est parce que en pile nous vivons avec famille, nous dit même si on prend moi, famille moi ka te ke ti moun nan, oui famille ka ba ti moun nan manger, famille ka mettre ti moun nan dormir, mais famille ça si que li pa gen document légal qui pour permettre li prendre décision pour ti moun nan, pour ka docteur pour l'école, yo pa ka faire pour y a demandé côté gardien ti moun nan, côté parent ti moun nan, c'est yo même légalement qui ka fait décision pour ti moun yo. Alors c'est très important que nous gagnons papier ça. Ça que moi te dit et pas dit nous avant tout. Si que nous décidons de faire par attorney, monsieur et dames, agent, c'est lui qui pour gagner original là, nous-mêmes nous avons copie. OK, so pas partir avec original là. OK.
Go ahead.
Speaking of rational decision, believe it or not, I've had clients that call me qui est CPS, qui vont comme la banque qui m'ont dit est-ce qu'elle a toujours acheté caille? That is not rational. Trust me. So, qui veut dire que ou même qui dans une situation ça, c'est pas le moment pour acheter caille bon ici. It's best to pose it to figure out what you want to do with your affairs.
And don't lie. Don't lie on your thing to say that you are a citizen.
Well, speaking of that, if you've lied, surtout by Maxi, dans application mortgage, surtout fait fraud, il est possible qu'il y ait des problèmes. Mais n'importe fraud que vous faites, nous pas garantir que vous pouvez mettre là. Ça dépend des situations. Si on a un code sur if they find out you did fraud, quand ça vous pas payer. Mais si vous pas fait fraud, soit chez Kaya normalement, tout papier, vous pas faire document pour taxe, you still in droit sous Kaya. Mais j'aime dire, c'est pas le moment pour acheter Kaya. This is not the time to purchase a home ou faire un investissement. Et si vous avez un banque, if your ID is expired, your GPS is expired, you can go to consulat pour faire un passeport haïtien, right? Pour gérer comme qui est dans la banque. But right now, c'est mon proposer tête tout, pas faire tête chaud, à jouer un professionnel pour ça.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes. Okay. The reason why I didn't speak about guardianship, I chose to speak about the power of attorney, is because there's a lot of complications when it comes to guardianship. It's not just filing it and then you get a guardian and then that's it. They have to do guardianship reports, annual reports. They have it gets very, and then you have to get an attorney involved. It gets very pricey. That's why I didn't talk about it. Is it an option? Yes, it is. However, the reason why I didn't talk about it is because it does get pricey. It's not a simple procedure. It's not just that you go to court, you become a guardian, and then you do whatever you want with the, no. You have to file things in court every year. You have to actually, before you make any decision, you have to go to the judge for the judge to okay, write an order so that you can actually do that decision. It's a completely different process. That's why I didn't address it than a power of attorney.
Awesome. Oh, you want to say it in Creole?
If they need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Well, go ahead and say it in Creole and then I'll.
Ok, raison que moi pas vraiment parler de guardianship là, c'est parce que c'est un lot, et comment dire, un lot procès que lié. Procès ça, faut que vous mettez un avocat là-dedans. Procès ça coûte quoi? C'est pas seulement que vous remplissez un papier et puis vous venez gardien et puis c'est ça seulement. Parce que qu'on est là ou devant juge, depuis que gardien ça est pour faire décision pour tout le monde là, faut retourner dans le court là pour demander juge la permission. Pour que le juge n'a pas de permission pour le faire. Non seulement ça, tout dans le guardianship là, et il faut que nous ayons annual report chaque année pour que nous fassions, pour que le juge ne connaisse qui ça a passé avec tout le monde. C'est pour ça que dans la situation, ça ne pas parler de lui parce que c'est plus compliqué que si on fait par attorney. Mais oui, c'est une option liée, mais c'est pour les gens qui gagnent l'argent liquide qui vraiment qui a fait.
Okay, well, I just want to say we've gotten through all of our steps, and I want to thank my lovely mother for bringing everybody water. Thank you, Mom. So we are going to ask our panelists to just maybe give a final word. We want to open up Q&A. I wanted this to end at 8. It's like 7:55. So this is what we can do. The panelists, you can, say your closing remarks, and we can open up the Q&A for maybe a few more minutes for whoever's around to stick around and talk. But I feel like we got a lot of our questions answered, a lot of our questions answered. So quickly, everybody give a closing remark, and then we'll dismiss the panel and then open up for questions. I'm gonna ask our representative, Dottie Joseph, to come up and give her. First off, I just want to thank you, Representative Joseph, for coming out because this is amazing. It's amazing. I know I sprung it on me last minute, but I'm so grateful. I really am, truly. Come on up.
No, of course. Sandra and I have a whole other event that's happening at 8, so we're gonna run very quickly. But avant de dire rien encore, on bat ton bravo pour mesdames ça yo là. Can I tell you how much I love being a Haitian woman? The Haitian community, number 1. Black women, number 2. Yes. We see the problem and we step up to get it done.
Amen. Come on.
And that's it, right? They're doing this, but we're doing this. This is our community. We're responsible.
Yes.
So I want to acknowledge that. Come here, là, pour venir web and figure nous. Viens vite. Regardez, bravo. Vous cachez. Non, come on. Don't cash it. Let us see me parfois. Sometimes you don't need to be all that humble. Come on, let us see you. Come on.
Planning committee.
Okay, so this is the planning committee. C'est eux même qui là, qui essaie d'adresser sur des bagages. So, nous avons besoin de reconnaître, les nouvelles belles figures, n'a pas bravo, okay? What I want you to understand in this moment is, as a people, we have been through worse. and we survived. We will survive this, and we will continue to thrive, whether it's this country or anywhere else. Et tout le monde qui a venu derrière nous a fait bon problème, y a besoin de ça, y a cherché. Au nom de Jésus. So, there's a lot going on, and everybody has to do their part. This is a period where we talked about checking egos at the door. It's not about me. It's not about who's elected, who's not elected, who's this, who's that. Tout le monde se met femme sous, met garçon sous nous, and figure out qui parti Charlotte ou même moi prendre. Parce qu'on a parlé de mais en pile, chai pas loup, l'union fait la force. Bagay c'est belle parole. Qu'on y a, c'est là pour nous mettre en action.
Right. Yes.
This is the time. This is the time, right? I don't need to tell you what to do or what not to do. Can you grab me that paper right there with my glasses underneath? Te gen aussi de bagay ki te di la, m'te besoin faire un petit point de clarification. So, ou te tende, pas besoin, c'est ça, m'te besoin. So, sign the documents you need in advance. So, one of the ones you heard about was the power of attorney, mandat, right? Pou bay moun nan autorisation pou yo agi pou intérêt yo. But I also want you to know, if you do have a lawyer, and even if you don't have one, find one. We gave you a lot of resources of how to find a lawyer and sign, I don't remember the name of the form, but sign the paper that you need to get your immigration lawyer to have access to you and to do things on your behalf, because once they detain you, it's too late to get that document signed. And they can't give you the information. They might not even give them information about where you're being detained. What is that document called? Do you know what?
And the G28 is the authorization to retain a lawyer to work on your behalf.
Okay, not just to return the lawyer, but so that ICE can give them information while you're detained, because sometimes they play games. Oh, we can't talk to you. We don't know, So you have the document. Your attorney has the document in advance. If you do not have a document, this is one of those times where you need to have a lawyer on speed dial. Even if it's, we gave you some resources through Flick, right? You know you got FUM there. FUM is connected with Catholic Youth Charities. HLA is working on a plan. So there are lots of resources in the community, but now is the time. C'est pas le besoin, I need a lawyer. No, you need to do that in advance, okay? We talked about the financial protection. Look into getting a trust, right? Look into getting a revocable trust, because that has additional protections beyond what we talked about now. And then with the power of attorney, it has limitations. If you have a financial account, right? If you have a financial, okay. If you have a financial account, yes, get a power of attorney, but sometimes even that's not enough for them to get full access to your account. So you might need to check in with your bank to see what you need to have a power of attorney on record with them, because they might have additional paperwork that you're not familiar with. So for the financial stuff, that's particularly important, because you don't want them to hold on to your money and nobody has access to it. An easy workaround is to add somebody onto that account, somebody that you trust. If not anybody, somebody that you trust that can have access to the account, so they don't even need permission because their name is on the account. You have to go in, physically do that. That is one. Another alternative to that is to make sure that you have a trustee, which goes back into the trust. So you either have somebody on the account with you, or you have a trustee. A safety plan. So we talked about different things. You know, sometimes you may not get a chance to call and say pineapple. That's a reality. Each phone has an emergency function. Figure out how it works. That emergency function is usually used if you're getting kidnapped or something, but you can use it for ICE. Nobody needs to know what you're using it for. One time I accidentally hit the button. I was in a whole other country. My brother was scared. Everything's okay. Yeah, I just hit the button. I was in a buffet. Sorry, right? But he had got my location. He was getting ready to fly to where I was. But think about who you need to add to your contacts. That's available both for Android and for iPhone. You may not get to. You might get a chance just to press that one little button. In addition to having an emergency thing on your phone, you may be in a position where you shouldn't have a phone with a phone period, or a phone with internet. If that is you, another thing you should implement is to have a regular check-in with certain people. If they don't hear from you in a day, they know something's wrong. They don't even need to hear from you. You know that it's time to start implementing a plan. Every day or every week, whatever period you think is appropriate for you, have a check-in and have a plan of what needs to happen if that check-in does not happen. Email yourself important documents. We talked about saving it in your phone, but you can email it to your lawyer in advance. You don't need to wait till you need it to have it there. Email it to the key people that need to have it. That's it.
Let's give it up for Representative Don Joseph. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Avant nous continuer, before we continue, let us look around this beautiful restaurant and let us put our hands together to thank Casa Champagne. Come on, we can do better than that. She opened up this beautiful venue for us today. We did not pay $1. She did not ask for anything in return. On seul bagay n'a demandé chaque monde qui là, même si c'est un cola, en vont déplacer, s'il vous plaît, achetons un cola pour nous supporter. Dame ça qui fait un bon travail dans la communauté, qui c'est Casa Champagne Restaurant and Lounge. Et s'il possible, sous la fait la pluie ou capable de faire manger, tout ordre un plat pour Maria, un plat pour Timonio. Nous comprenons? Oui. Nous comprenons. Nous pas besoin de faire manger à soir. OK? Messieurs, pas fâché avec. Let us put our hands together for our amazing panel. Okay. Now we have 14 questions in the queue. We're going to take 14 minutes to answer 14 questions, 1 minute per question, because we want to make sure que tout le monde qui demande une question, yo joigne une réponse. Après, n'a ba chaque monde qui a 1 minute pour dire nous encore qui est yoye, organisation yo représentée et sous ta besoin contacter yo pour prendre service, mais qui bon que ou ka joindre yo. Est-ce que nous pas joindre en pile bonne information aujourd'hui? Et moi, je dis comme ça que les Haïtiens pas travaillent ensemble, les Haïtiens pas supporter l'autre, mais nous démentir aujourd'hui, nous travaillons ensemble et nous supporter l'autre. Et grâce à Dieu, nous jouons un partner like Flick, nous jouons un partner like STIU qui peut venir, qui supporter nous et qui travaille avec nous. On nous applaudit ça encore. Dans le moment ça, nous avons passé le mic là par Dr. Vanessa Pierre qui peut demander des questions. Et puis, s'il vous plaît, moun qui parle pour répondre aux questions, n'a pas son mic là, s'il vous plaît, 1 minute.
OK, so nous pas gain 14 questions encore parce qu'il y a un peu de questions que nous pas gain 14 questions encore parce que il y a un peu de questions que nous déjà répondre. So, je voulais dire merci pour ça. So, même besoin de compter pour une question. OK, so première question, Dr. Saint-Just dit, what is the ICE process from arresting to getting to being detained? Would I get a phone call to let my family know that I was detained? So Dr. Saint-Just Monday, qui ça qui processus là, depuis ICE prend un monde et puis on mette dans prison, est-ce que m'a joindre on appel téléphone pour faire moun yo connaître que yo prend?
Well, yes, usually people are allowed one phone call, so you know where they are. But one thing people need to know, leave the alien number with your family. That's the easiest way you can track the location of someone for immigration. We have a lot of Marie-Joseph, and then it could be cumbersome and what have you. But everybody has a unique alien number. Once you put that number in the system, it gives you the exact location where that person is detained. So it's very important to know that number, but they get to make that one phone call. Any additional call, you have to know where the person is to feed in money in their account so they can continue to have conversation with you or anyone else.
En créole, tout le monde gagne un numéro alien. S'il vous plaît, make sure que tout le monde qui fait partie de plan ou, yo gagne un numéro alien non si que yo pas t'avoir pour une heure de temps ou 2 heures de temps ou un jour, yo connaît que yo cal dans système nan, mettez numéro alien nan et si que c'est ICE qui te dit nous, yo ka jouer nous. So, c'est pas bon qui te mettre sur expliquer ça, the A number.
Well, the A number is for anyone who was not born here in this country.
Thank you,
If you were born here, then you don't have to worry about that. I should have no jurisdiction on you anyway.
Yeah, but they do. So if they do, what do you do next?
Ok, écrit question, wap seri papier qui sous table là, et puis wap écrit question. Okay, so the next question, what happens if the virtual appointment request is delayed or denied? Qui sa qui rive si appointment sous computer est still delayed?
Well, you have to keep the appointment until and unless the court or immigration indicate that it's reset, it's canceled, or it's allowed online. Not showing up to ICE, you become, they issue a warrant for you as a fugitive. And if you do not show up in court, they issue an order of removal in your absence so you can be picked up by ICE. So you do not act on anything until there's a decision that is made on your behalf or what have you.
Ok, donc, maintenant, dit comme ça que même si l'heure que tu dit pour venir ou bon retard, you have to remain diligent until you baou your nouveau date. Parce que si au bon date ou pas venir, ICE a mette yon mandat d'ailleurs pour arrêter ou parce que ou pas venir. Donc, ce qui ça pour faire? Toujours suivre website là, garder si date a changé, si date l'a changé, then okay. Mais depuis yon bon date, you have to appear and we know that you have to make sure que vous faites apparaissement avec yon avocat.
Okay, next question ça again des parties. Premier partie c'est what are the next steps for the member of the youth who have TPS? Qui ça qui next qui ça mounio qui jeune, ti mounio qui ça yo ka faire si yo gen TPS et puis deuxième partie na question ça c'est moun ti mounio qui dans l'école publique ou universitaire qui ça yo ta fait kounya parce que yo gen TPS et puis l'école a ouvrir le mois prochain.
Well, l'école là, c'est pas expertise. Mais il y a une bagage constitution états-unis et après décision Supreme Court qui est par le vidéo, il dit tout le monde qui a droit à une éducation publique. Bien sûr, le gouvernement a essayé de changer ça, mais le fait que vous avez droit à l'éducation, ça va veut dire que vous êtes capable, si vous avez un document, vous avez accès à toute l'école là. L'école primaire, l'école classique, gratis, vous méritez quel que soit le statut immigration. Mais c'est pendant l'université ou bien trade school, collège, si vous n'avez pas de document, vous pouvez charger comme élève international, vous n'avez pas payer même tuition. Pour Florida, essayer de faire ça pour mon petit pièce pour Dakar et le gouvernement te dit non. Ça veut dire qu'il est difficile pour continuer à l'école. So faire attention et garder pour sur quelques statuts pour ça continuer avec l'éducation.
Ok, question ça, il y a trois personnes qui demandent, bon, quoi, yo, anti-genre même. So, premier, c'est, what other ways can people gain status when they have no immediate family? So, si on n'a pas de famille qui proche, qui l'autre option yo gagne pour yo ka joindre statut, ça c'est premier. Deuxième là, c'est, moi appliquer pour TPS depuis août 2024 et puis m'pas jamais joindre une réponse. Ça a privé en année depuis ça arrivé. Qui ça m'a fait pour solution ça c'est deuxième là. Et puis troisième là, c'est est-ce qu'il y a besoin d'un avocat pour faire l'application pour vous si green card ou expiré? Ça, c'est trois questions. Yo.
Ouais. Troisième question, il y a si green card doit expirer ou besoin de remplir forme I-90 pour renouveler puis le bon notre green card qui va là pour 10 ans. Songez même là l'expirer ou toujours résident, mais ou juste pas de documentation pour prouver qu'ils sont résidents. Oui. Deuxième question qui a rapport avec
You appliqué pour TPS depuis August 2024
Okay.
and they haven't gotten a response.
Moun qui pas une réponse là, gen ou ka prendre contact avec USCIS, gon numéro 1-800 capable relé ou même ou ka faire inquiry online sur là dans uscis.gov, gon côté ou mettez status online ou bien ou ka faire un inquiry, gon côté ou mando pour ka prendre contact avec immigration pour faire connaître, yo gen doit bon rapport comment ka la est. Mais ça on moun besoin connaître. Depuis yo pas dit dans TPS là légalement ou protégé comme si yo était approuvé TPS là déjà jusqu'à ce que vous preniez décision sur lui. Et troisième question après ça plus difficile là qui option moun gagne par exemple sur son question qui est capable prendre toute dans soirée là et son bail qui aller cas par cas individuellement parce que quand il option dans immigration mais 80% 90% haïtiens pas qualifié pour ou ka gen résidence pour investisseur soit $1 million pour investir dans le pays. OK, me quitter ça en repos. Si ou bien talent extraordinaire en tant que m'dadou ou c'est plus gros athlète qui joue football pas gen temps pour yo gen on tapis rouge rouler pour sous gon scientiste comme moun qui go chimiste qui fait go développement bagay intellectuel yo capable bon accès. Il passe par travail sur une compagnie qui prend pour bonne position que yo pas ka jeune l'autre monde qui fait travail ça yo pour ka résider mais 80% haïtiens c'est à travers famille relation familiale ça veut dire maman papa frère sœur et mais il y a même 4 catégories il y a qui immédiate pour maman mari madame qui citoyen américain ça bien immédiat mais petit cas appliqué pour parents immédiatement, mais il y a d'autres catégories faut arrêter pour les visas disponibles sont bonnes bagages bien longues. Moun sa besoin de contact directement avocat pour garder cas par là qui ça qui possible pour lui.
Mes amis, bad bravo vous mettre sur.
Okay, nous avons des questions qui étaient, Mr. Mesman, Attorney Mesman, I think this is for you. You answered this already, but just to say it again. What legal documents should parents have if they are detained so that a relative or friend can pick them up? So, qui document légal parent si vous avez gagné pour yon signer si ice point yo pour une famille ou un ami qui prend soin timoun yo.
Ok, je dis à moi de parler de power of attorney et aussi on m'a demandé de guardianship là tout ça c'est possible aussi et seulement ça que moi dis de ça pour que nous avec un avocat qui peut aider nous préparer bien parce que en pile fois nous aller dans internet nous ca joindre un monde qui juste a rempli papier parce que monde toujours prend avantage avec les situations alors qu'on y a là c'est très important qu'on chite avec attorney pour dire qui doit couvrir là qui ça couvrir faire pour que l'avocat a préparé le document exactement qui j'en veux là. Qu'on y a tout, c'est les gens qui peuvent rester ici, c'est lui qui peut gagner l'original là et pour même pour qu'il y ait une copie. C'est très important que nous fassions ça.
Merci.
Ok, dernière question, je vais juste mélanger tout et puis n'importe qui a point yo. So, what concrete steps can we take to advocate for the extension or redesignation of TPS for Haiti? And the second question is, what does the transfer of immigration process look like to go to Canada, Mexico, Brazil, or Chile? So, qui ça nous a fait pour nous demander gouvernement encore pour nous renouveler TPS pour les gens qui sont Haïti? Et puis, deuxième question, c'est si on veut prendre chance pour nous aller Chile, Mexique, Brazil, ou Canada, qui ça processe ça, qui janvier?
Okay, so we're going to go to Flick. What can we do collectively right now to advocate for TPS or a pathway to citizenship?
Thank you. Yes. So outside of it being challenged in the courts, the main thing that you can do is reach out to your elected representatives. Make sure that they know that they are hearing from you, that they are hearing from your family, from community, from allies. And we have to keep that constant pressure. We know that Florida is its own beast. So it's a very different environment than the rest of the country. And they tend to feel like they have carte blanche almost. But I think that what is happening is that they are so used to inciting fear and that being a tool of silence that they are really exploiting that right now. And so what we are trying to make sure that folks are not shying away from the power that we have to still hold them accountable. And what we really need right now is leaders to actually step up into that leadership and not say that I'm afraid of doing the right thing because I'm not losing a position. So what we really need them to do is step up into that leadership, and we need to hold them to that.
Well, let me take, this is my political hat here. It's time for you to recognize that you're not citizen just to go bring your family here. You need to exercise that power. There's nothing more powerful than that. Donald Trump has one vote and you have one vote. Oh my God. That's the most powerful tool you have. You need to exercise it the correct way. You need to hold your representative accountable. We need to be on their tail to make them work for us. We need to be united as a people, to stand together, to vote together, to fight together, to march together. Those people undocumented may not have the option to be on the street, to march, to make their voice heard. That's the time we step for them. We fight for them. We advocate for them. So we demonstrate, because we find out that ou citoyen américain, mais sous un restaurant, pas gen moun qui vient manger là-dedans. Citoyen n'a pas vle di rien pour business là. We have to understand we are interconnected. When we fight for one, we protect each other, and that makes us stronger as a people. So claim that, fight it, now understand the system, how it works. In the courtroom and everywhere. We stand for each other, we stand for our people, we stand for our community, then we prevail anytime.
Wow, let's just put our hands together one more time and thank this amazing panel for their phenomenal job that they have done. Let's give them a hand of applause one more time. We are going to be closing out. Before we give our panelists a 1 minute opportunity to tell us who they are, where we can reach them, we have an amazing partner with us today. And so SEIU would love for you to just join us on the stage, talk to the people, share. Your leader was here earlier and she said you guys have some great programs and you're ready to work. So please tell us about it.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll be really quick because I know it's late. My name is Yambeli Gomez, and I am the political director for SEIU Local 32BJ. We're the largest property service worker union in the country right now. We represent about 180,000 workers in 13 states, and we represent TPS holders from all different countries, but our Haitian members have been at the forefront, especially at our airports, giving essential services, cleaning our airplanes, doing security work, doing all the things that you see people do every single day to make sure we're safe and things are being run the way they should. So because of that, we actually joined a lawsuit that lawsuit was ruled on Tuesday. And one of our incredible airport leaders was part of that lawsuit publicly, who's a TPS holder from Haiti. And we won the lawsuit, and that is why TPS was reinstated. So we're very proud to stand with our leaders. They are leading right now the way for us legally, in the field, in the streets. And we have a commitment for those of us, like it was said, for us who are US citizens, for us who have positions and have connections and can network, we have to do whatever it takes in order for folks to be safe and to keep doing whatever we can to make sure that, the rule of law is respected. So I just want to say that, and I also want to say that we have different things that we do for our members, but one of the things that I'm going to ask for help with, and I will be reaching out to some of the folks here, is that we have a legal fund. However, we're a little bit at capacity right now, you can imagine, and we do not have enough Haitian Creole lawyers right now in our legal fund, especially from here from South Florida. So I will be connecting to folks, if any other folks have any connections. So some of the incredible lawyers that are here and elsewhere can join our legal fund and help some of our members right now who, really need the support navigating through all of this, because as we know, every case is different, and every person has hopefully a pathway. If we can get them the support. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who's here. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Come on, let's give it up. We just want to thank you so very much pour tout le monde qui t'a fait déplacer, qui vient là aujourd'hui pour prendre information, pour porter le bail qui besoin nous disons merci. Parce que nous chaque, exactement ça, représentative la député a dit, nous chaque cas jouer un rôle, nous chaque cas aider. Ou pas besoin de titre, ou pas besoin d'élu, mais koto ou ouais capacité pour faire-le. Parce que résultat, récompense là, c'est bon Dieu qui a baoul. Et li wè cœur, li wè capacité, li wè qui sont qu'à délivrer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our first panelist, thank you so very much, Ms. Jessica. Please tell us who you are again, what you do, and where we can find you.
I just pass it down.
Okay, so my name is Jessica Jefferson. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've practiced in the state of Florida, both in person and virtually. You can find me at thejessjeff.com. My company is swsocialsupport.com. And the companies that I plugged earlier that will provide services if you do not have insurance and are not able to otherwise afford therapy, HaitianTherapist.com. It's a therapist directory. Le Bâti Santé Mentale is a nonprofit organization that is providing $25 therapy virtually throughout the entire state. CAT.org, also virtual throughout the entire state of Florida. Do not believe you have to fight this alone emotionally. There are folks who look like you, sound like you, and come from where you come from, who understand the life beat and life force of what drives you, who are willing to walk alongside you on this journey. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yay.
I am Natalie Demesman. I've been an attorney for 25 years, and today I spoke about power of attorneys. I want to say, if anybody wants to contact my office that's facing TPS, I do have a discounted price for everyone facing TPS to do a power of attorney for them if that's how they choose. My number is 954-367-5148. I'm in Hollywood right here, not too far from Casa Champet. I can help everyone. And you don't have to come to my office. We can do it by Zoom.
Yay.
Yo di moun déconnecté dans internet yo. Moi même si me fais ça, I'm pas capable. I'm exposed. I'm out there. Google my name, Ronald Siren, and if you ever Google yourself, you'll be surprised. I Google myself like, oh my God, I'm on anyway. So that's good. You can find me. But I'm a lawyer at the time at the law office of Champaign and Siren in Fort Lauderdale. Our number for 27 years still the same. 954-463-0709. 463-0709. That's where you can reach me at any time. Thank you.
Hi, so I don't know if someone will want to translate, but Ariel Sepulveda, I'm the organizing director for Flick. Anyone can reach me at ariel@flick.org, so FLIC.org. And please go onto our website at flick.org on events. You'll see all of the legal services that we'll offer under the family preparedness event. And I also just happen to bring some Know Your Rights cards. So if anyone needs any of those, please find me after.
Awesome.
C'est Jean Castor de American Mortgage. Encore, c'est un grand plaisir pour nous là avec un beautiful panelist. Nous avons bonne information que nous avons. Nous avons un dernier bravo pour vous qui mettez tout à ça together. Christine, avec toute leur staff, Naomi. Donc, téléphone c'est 305-204-5626. My contact information is 305-502-5978. I have been doing mortgages and real estate for over 25 years. If you have any questions regarding mortgage, real estate, to get CPS, my door is open. As always, call me. If I don't have the questions, I know where to get it. I'll get Shuan or anyone that I can get. I have underwriters. I have contacts with banks. Call me. And the next time you guys have the event, you guys that are here, tell your family members,
Yes.
friends, this room's supposed to be packed.
Yes.
We're giving you guys all time as professionals. We're taking the time out. So you guys have to do your part too. I understand multi-PSU may not want to be here for the right reason, right? Mais get from me. I know clients qui gain moun nan kayo qui gain TPS pas experience. The TPS folks may not be able to come, but the family members, the friends, come out here and go to the events and get the information.
A few announcements.
Nous voulons dire merci à Christine Sana Jules encore, parce que c'est Christine qui est venue avec l'idée pour faire le programme ça. Christine, thank you so very much for your leadership. We appreciate you and we would love for you to not only close us out, but just share with us why you decided to put this together.
Well, before I do that, I just want to make an announcement. We started all of this immigration a few months ago, right? We were doing videos, Naomi, myself, and Sandra. We were doing videos on immigration, cafe video on immigration every Thursday. And that's how it started, right? And then a woman died, a Haitian woman died in a facility in Pompano at Maria's Blas. And we did a prayer vigil there. We went straight over there to do a prayer vigil, and a group showed up, and we prayed because we didn't know what's going to happen next, right? And so before I even get into how all of this came about, I just want to give a shout out. We have people that are organizations that are organizing a major protest on Saturday at 9 a.m. Thank you to FAM, and I believe Florida Rising is all together in this, and everyone, the entire community. You're going to be at the same detention center, correct? That Mai died in.
13 organizations.
13 organizations. Paul, do you want to just explain really quickly? Because everybody's invited. I know I'm going to be there at 9 a.m.
Yeah. So we have 13 organizations who have gotten together. That includes Bon Samaritain. That includes, many. Maybe Orlando, you want to go through the different organizers, but many. Santla, FAM, they're all on the list. Keep on going. Let's say them all. Semillas Colombianas, yeah. Amavet, yeah. Yeah, SFMF, South Florida Muslim Federation, yes.
Okay, come on now. Yes, everybody's coming
We
together.
don't want to leave anyone out parce que son bagage vraiment collectif. Tout le monde mettre ensemble pour nous capables assurer que nous voyons un message clair et nous gain jusqu'à ça fait nous obligés de prendre quelques minutes pendant séance là parce que t'es une réunion pour organiser ça. Il y a au moins 5 élus qui confirment, y compris représentants d'Oti Joseph qui était présent aujourd'hui ici à la place samedi matin, représentant Wallace Aristide, bien et Congressman Sheila Sherfield McCormick qui est présent. OK, so on liste de plus de 10 personnes qui prennent la parole. Donc, nous vraiment féliciter, mais nous besoin une félicitation spéciale pour Orlando et Najida parce que net esprit va ça la fête. Merci.
And you are transporting people. So you have a bus leaving from North Miami and you have a bus leaving from Broward? No, West Palm. From West Palm. Okay, North Miami and West Palm. So if you need a ride on Saturday, or you can call me. I have some space in my car because I'm gonna be right. Listen, I love putting these things together, but I love being on the streets too. So wherever my people are, you will find me. The address, what's the address? 1300?
3900 Bar Line.
3900 North Powerline Road. Broward Detention Center, okay? So, the Broward Transitional Center, 3900 North Powerline Road. So, you wanted me to talk about what made me put all this together? Because I could. That's it. That's it. And you can too. I don't have to come here and explain that I'm Haitian American and my grandmother came here. She always tells me, I mean, God rest her soul, I came on Pan American Airlines, I came on the plane. Like my grandmother used to give me this whole thing, right? I don't need to explain any of that to you about my history, about my heritage. I don't have to tell you that my parents are Haitian or they're from Port-au-Prince or Lembe. I don't have to do any of that. I'm standing here. I am a person. I love my people. And so I put this together and you can do the same exact thing. That's it. I don't need a title. I don't need permission. Okay? Right now we are in crunch time. So I thank you. I thank you so much. And somebody asked me, where could they find their elected officials? Find your rep. So house.gov, you have find your representative. You can do that for federal, and then you can have find your representative for Florida as well. Find your rep, get them involved, okay? But don't let that stop you. You can do it. You don't need all of this. Thank you so much. We are organizing and we will be disseminating information. This isn't gonna stop. We're gonna keep doing it. Next Saturday, we have the training. Once again, thank you to Casa Champet. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, BPX, for being here. Okay, we love you. Okay, always delivering Haitian news directly to the people. So thank you, merci un pile. Okay, so I just want to thank everyone. Let's clap it up. We'll be around for questions. God bless you. Don't forget to buy something, anything. Okay, I know I'm getting my duicole and my banan right now. So thank you so much. Everybody have a good night. Thank you. Did we cover everything? Thank you.
Compliment, bravo, bravo, comme ça. Pour bel travail ça, en pile belle information.